You'll never make it in the NBA.
You'll just sit on the bench.
You never even played college ball.
You're just not ready, man.
No one ever chances to develop.
Don't get your hopes up.
It's time for the basketball show. Highlights? Plenty, including the Bulls going for their 16th consecutive home win. The Celtics, well, they'll take 3 straight of any kind, and tonight they go for it as they meet and greet the Warriors. And speaking of the latter, we'll get up close and personal to Chris Webber, a star under construction. And we'll smack a few out of the sky, just in case you missed it. It'll be next as we journey inside the NBA, and that means you.
Inside the NBA with Fred Hickman.
And the show continues. For now, hi everyone and welcome. We've got a lot of basketball to get to this evening, and we tip it off in Atlanta, where the Hawks were on call for the New Jersey Nets, a team which had won a season-high 3 straight games coming in. But look out. Something may be brewing in Atlanta, where perennial all-star forward Dominique Wilkins is in the final year of his contract. He would like to get something done before this season is over. The Hawks, well, they'd rather wait and see. Well, one thing's for sure, Wilkins is a scot-free agent coming up, and it might cost the team more than it bargained for. Anyway, back to the current affair. Tonight's ball game, a pretty good one. John Concat gets a piece of Kenny Anderson's shot. Blaylock bounce pass ahead to Wilkins for the jam, and the Hawks get out to an early explosive lead. But now, nice ballman here by the Nets. Benoit Benjamin is the guy who winds up with it, and he's able to thump one home. To the second quarter, the Nets run. Johnny Newman with a big dunk right there. And then Willis with the board. Long outlet to Dominique. Easy dunk. The Hawks by 11. You know what? Neek's been scoring a lot of points. It's just that the Hawks have not been playing very well. Blaylock finds Kevin Willis. Fast break. Tomahawk. Then Kenny Anderson, Georgia Tech product, slides through the D. Deals to Coleman for the dunk. Time running out in regulation. Hawks down 2. Loose ball. Willis finally lets her rip. And it's 105 all. We head to overtime. The Hawks in the OT break. Elo, no. Willis, no. Wilkins, sure. 107 to 105 Atlanta. But then Kenny Anderson, with time running out, gets inside. What soft touch. Hey, this was the kid's home gym part of the time when he played at Georgia Tech. He knows it well. Hawks, one last gasp. Elo triggers it in. Lang, I'm sure, relatively sure anyway, that is not what Lenny Wilkins drew up in the huddle. Anyway, New Jersey goes on to win it 113 to 111. That is 4 straight wins for them. That is 2 straight home losses for the Atlanta Hawks. The headlines tomorrow in Atlanta may read something like this: Hawks lose, homeboy does good.
I think my goal, and I hope the team goal, is to break that 500 mark before All-Star break. And if we could do that, it'd be a real accomplishment for this team. It's going to be tough. But like I told you, the coaching staff and all players accept the challenge.
Well, you want to know why the Chicago Bulls are hanging around the Hawks near the top of the Central Division with a chance to tie them tonight? Well, the same reason they've been hanging up championship banners at the stadium the past 3 years. They play defense like Perry Mason. That's why. Try this on for size. 15 straight home wins before this evening's action. The opponent held to 100 points or less in all but the first 2 home games of the season. Tonight, the Pacers were touring the Madhouse on Madison. We got some highlights for you from
Kevin Madden and Bobby Leonard are standing by back at the Indianapolis. Nice tie. You like the tie? I love it.
Yeah, it's not a bad tie. Anyway, the Pacers get it inside quickly. Rick Smits for the jam. And then the Pacers defense breaks down. Bill Winnington opens up, takes it right to the hole. The Bulls down by 1. Now Winnington again. Watch him blow the layup. Byron Scott, outlet to Reggie Miller for the reverse layup right there. The Pacers by 9. Now watch Tony Kukoc. misses the steal. Derek McKee then comes up with a nice pass inside. They had numbers at that point. Sam Mitchell for 2, Pacers by 13. Smits here, misfires on the hook. Malik Sealy with the follow and the stick back. The Pacers by 9. The Bulls, though, were able to cut it down to 1 in the fourth quarter. That's how they sit. About 3 minutes and 55 seconds left in the game, with the Pacers leading in a tight one, 88-85. Now, moving on to Michael Jordan, the former Chicago Bull. He sure is working a lot for a guy who just retired, a multi-zillionaire, isn't he? Well, that's because he's trying to get the Chicago White Sox baseball club to put him on. Jordan, who hasn't played organized baseball since high school, has been working out 5 days a week, fielding ground balls, hitting in the cage. He wants to be invited to spring training with the Sox. He said it's something that he and his late father began discussing a couple of years ago, and he plans to follow through no matter what happens.
You never give up on your dreams, no matter who you are or what you become. If you always have those dreams, at least give it a try before you quit, in a sense, or don't try those dreams. So a lot of people may think this off the wall. Maybe it is, but I mean, I'm doing something that I choose to do. And that's try to follow one of the dreams that I had when I was a kid. And if it happens, great. It's a dream that another dream that I've accomplished. If not, I go through life saying, hey, I at least tried. And I had a good time trying.
Can't blame a guy for that. Jordan says he would be willing to accept a minor league assignment if the Sox saw any major league potential in him. And hey, Sox, just between us, if you think the Bo Jackson media circus was something last spring, watch this one when it cuts loose. Still ahead on the Sportscast for big kids, a big kid with a big heart and big potential. Meet and greet Chris Webber, won't you, when your trip inside the NBA resumes. Well, what about the Golden State Warriors? I mean, here's a team that came out of the starting blocks on crutches. Hardaway, Marciulionis, and Mullen all messed up at the beginning of the season. Webber, with the weight of the world on his shoulders as a rookie. Well, they have begun to rally some. Mullen is back, and Webber is more than fitting in, as we'll see in just a moment. Latrell Sprewell is leading the league in minutes played and hitting some big shots for him, also doing well on the boards. 5 straight wins before trying the Boston Celtics tonight at the Garden. And here is the Chief. He's a guy who could teach a youngster a thing or two, huh? Came out smoking. Parrish with a dozen points in the first. Nice baseline cut on Webber. Moments later, off the nice deal from Sherman Douglas, the Chief slams in everybody's face. And then he comes up big on D with a huge block on Chris Scatling. He just gunned that thing. Don Nelson says, yeah, I'm an old Celtic. I know this guy's stuff. Sherman Douglas here, alley-oop. Rick Fox, slam right there. And then enter the flu-stricken Chris Webber. No points in the first half, but off the lob from Avery Johnson, Webber slams it. The Warriors rallying from a 20-point hole. And then working against Parrish, Webber with a pair of nice moves, scoop, and hoop. And then Webber blocks Dino Raja. The Warriors come up running. Avery Johnson all the way for the layup right there, and the Warriors are within 3. But the Celtics, too much too late as Kevin Gamble gets the circus shot to go. Kevin Gamble from Springfield, Illinois, by the way. And there you see it as the Warriors go down to defeat by the final count of 124-116. Now, I want to get back to Chris Webber for a second. 6'10", rook out of the University of Michigan, youngest player in the NBA, could have been in Orlando had Don Nelson not been able to talk Pat Williams out of him draft day and the Penny Hardaway deal that nobody's sorry about right now. Well, Webber has already scored 36 points in a game this season. That's 6 points better than anything he did at the University of Michigan. He did the timeout thing in the final game with Carolina. Well, so what? Any of you who have never made a mistake should be too wealthy to be watching this show right now. The rest of us can sit back and watch this kid turn into something special. Here's a question, and I want you to answer very carefully. What are you looking at? Chris Webber, uncrowned Rookie of the Year, $74 million commodity, future standard bearer in the NBA? Or is it Chris Webber, 20-year-old kid, son of Mace, an auto worker at a Detroit GM plant? The answer is both and more.
There isn't anything the guy doesn't have on and off the floor. You know, he's got personality. He's got the great smile. I mean, he really could be another Magic Johnson.
The thing which thoroughly impresses about young Chris Webber is the way he balances his business on and off the court with a great sense of normalcy.
It's easy to keep your feet on the ground, you know. All the stuff that I have is not mine, it's God's. You know, he gave me the time to play basketball. I have a long way to go, but I feel I've come a long way. I feel I earned my position in the NBA. I know there are players that are better than me, but I feel that I'm one of the best, and I think that's what, you know, makes people good, is when they have confidence in themselves.
His position is center, on the court most of the time, off the court all of the time. That is thanks to the boss.
The most important thing was just discipline him in certain times of his life. When he did something wrong, he had to wash dishes, or he had to do extra homework and things of that sort, and we just made him work hard.
Webber is not the kind of son to forget. He wondered what in the world he could ever do for his mom and dad once he finally made it into the NBA, and then he remembered an old dream, the Cadillac.
My father worked at GM and he couldn't buy a Cadillac. That was my goal. That's the reason why I wanted to make it to the NBA. When I bought him the Cadillac and my mother the car and the house, I reached my goal. I could die right now and be the happiest man that ever lived, because they'll never have to work again.
As a player, Webber has been brilliant thus far, up to the rigors of the NBA, which are considerable, turning himself into a fine passer among big men, doing his best to prove he is worth the Warriors' rather hefty investment, especially in the face of numerous preseason injuries to a Warriors team expected to contend for the title.
He was the best big man in the draft. That's the way we thought.
I welcome the challenge.
Now, we knew that he was young. We knew that he would have to, you know, go through maybe a season.
A lot of people say, well, he can't score in the post, he can't play defense, and I'm just proving them wrong, and I like the feeling of that.
He's developed very quickly, and we're even shocked what he's doing now.
From 30, 35 games in college to 82 minimum in the NBA. It's a tough transition, one which drains the body and the soul alike.
It's a wall in front of you, and you don't have the energy to break it down. And your mind is like, yeah, I really don't want to break it down. You know, I'm not going to make your body do this. Hot tub, stay in the hot tub, stay in the hot tub. Just use your time wisely. When you're not on the court, stay off your feet.
Chris Webber, a young man whose feet are spiritually on the ground with the sky as his limit. Stay tuned, folks. I think this is going to get a lot better.
No matter how much they praise me, I have a long way to go. And no matter how much you criticize me, I'm better than you think.
Well said. You know, I had the privilege of meeting young Chris while co-hosting the Players Association banquet in Chicago last summer. I was stricken with his talent as a player, of course, but more so with his humility as a human being. I think it's going to carry him an awful long way in life. Now, right back to the rack we go for more highlight-type stuff. We head on down to Miami, where the Heat and the Detroit Pistons went for a little run. The Pistons, well, things are pretty low with that organization. Before the championship years, Detroit had some miserable teams, but none of those had lost 15 straight games. A dubious deed the Detroiters would do tonight if not careful with the Miami side, which, by the way, had lost 6 straight of their own. So let's see which team would will out. Well, you just can't beat fun at the old arena, can you?
Very little
ice skiing on a trampoline. Grant Long here uses David Wood off the dribble right there. Bingo. And then Long uses Wood.
Back to Thomas.
I should say Isaiah Thomas nonchalantly passing behind the back to Ben Coleman for the easy 2. Detroit on a 15-5 run. Lindsey Hunter, the rook, #1, grabs the loose ball, shoots that long outlet pass to Joe Dumars. What yeoman duty he has done this season, what with the injuries in their backcourt. Then in the 4th, off the inbounds, Terry Mills stops and pops the J. Mills had 34 points. And then late off the Miami miss, Thomas gains control and gets it ahead to Dumars, who runs it down, pulls up, measures it, and drills the 3. Joe D with 32, and the Pistons, too much pride to set any record tonight, go on to win it by a final count of 118-98. Well, it's halftime on the old basketball show of record. Our TNT special of the night, good game down Orlando way. The Atlantic Division leading New York Knicks in for one with a second-place Orlando Magic. Two fine teams, potential stuff to do some real damage in the playoffs. Well-played contest, high-scoring first half. Both teams shooting the ball well because both were executing their offense as well. Anyway, here's how it all came out in the end. I don't have to tell you about the centers. Of course, Patrick Ewing and Shaquille O'Neal. And in the first quarter, the rook, Anthony Hardaway, finds Shaq with a long pass. O'Neal thumps and then goes to the floor, and the Magic go up by 4. Man, that had to hurt. 301 pounds banging the deck. Still in the first, Shaq boards the Ewing miss. Hardaway takes it right straight to the hole, misfires, but Shaq is there for the board and the stuff. If you can, you got to put a body on the guy. You're going to pay the price, but it's almost impossible to let that guy run the lane. New York on an 11-4 run in the second. Ewing knocks down the J. Then at the end of the second, Shaq comes up with a loose ball and then kicks it to Dennis Scott, who misses, but look who's running. Again, O'Neal gets down to the other end of the floor and tips it in at the horn. Beautiful job. You want to see some defense? Try this. It's getting late. Ewing with the ball. Tries to lift him baseline. Won't work. Spins the other way. Patented Ewing move. All ball. All ball right there. Now Harper to Starks. They're looking for the three. Get it off well, in pretty good shape, but nothing. And you notice who was out in Starks' face? Who else? The big fella, Shaquille O'Neal, as the Orlando Magic goes on to win it by a final count of 106-103. The 15th, 30-point-plus game for Shaquille O'Neal, who had 37, 17 boards, 5 blocks, and 5 assists.
Just like Coach Brian Hill said earlier today, this is what you play for. You come to the NBA to play the #1 team in our conference and our building. So we just had to come out and play hard, play aggressive, and we did that all night. And Avon did a great job and helped me out on the boards.
Yeah, Anthony Avon did play well, and the Magic now within 5 games of the Knicks in the Atlantic Conference. Seattle Supersonics are the top team in the entire NBA. The Dallas Mavericks aren't. Man, I have talked to Kentucky fans who are feeling sorry for Quinn Buckner these days. He's the IU grad coaching his rookie season with Dallas. He has still not won a home game. I mean, not one. I wouldn't blame him if he, after looking at tonight's matchup, just went someplace, sat right down, and had himself a good cry. He might be doing that right now. But hey, it looked pretty good for Dallas early on. Jimmy Jackson goes right to the hole. Sean Kemp gets a bucket in the foul, and then birthday boy Detlef Schrempf, Jamal Mashburn, in for 2+1. Then Doug Smith, great touch pass to Terry Davis along the baseline there for the bucket. Hey, Mavs are up 26-18. Yeah, George, could be one of those nights. Gary Payton, look at the bullet pass to Schrempf underneath for 2. And then Jackson. I'm telling you, this is a good young team talent-wise. Jackson pulls up, hits the bomb, Mavs by 14. They just can't win. Carl calls timeout, and the Sonics go on a 15-0 run, capped by this three-pointer from sudden Sam Perkins. Then Jamal Mashburn with the turnover. Schrempf to Gary Payton. The bucket hacked in the act by Jax. And the Sonics are down there 86-82, and they're up 86-82, and Seattle goes on to beat Dallas 91-87. Still haven't won a game at home. The Inside the NBA investigative unit, by the way, has been working overtime this past week on a story, and guess what it found? Some handout video featuring Grandmama. The folks at, that's Larry Johnson, of course. The folks at Converse are doing one of those expensive Super Bowl Sunday commercials featuring Larry Johnson's granny, a munchkin from The Wizard of Oz, and a thing called, quote, Welcome to Three-Point Land, end of quote. Also starring Larry's new shoes.
It's great, on the Super Bowl, everybody watching the Super Bowl, so, it's going to be something a little bit different from the ordinary shoe commercial and have a little bit more fun and, that kids can watch and relate to a little bit more.
Funny, I went from shoes to shoes. I used to be Buster Brown, That's my dog, Ty. He lives in the shoe. I'm Buster Brown. Look for me in there, too. Now it's Converse, but it's not. Look for the React juice.
Buster Brown with the hat. Knew I seen that guy somewhere before. Anyway, that was Jerry Marin, who portrays the Munchkin. He is now 72 years young, and he was the guy who welcomed Dorothy and Toto to Munchkin Land. Well, what do you think? Is Larry still just counting the money, or is he just making it easy on himself and weighing it these days? We'll be back to dot the T's and cross the I's right after we burn our final timeout.
little bit to try to post.
All right, let's finish up the rock. Charlotte at Milwaukee. Hornets out fast behind Eddie Johnson. 20 points in the first quarter. That ties a club record. But the Bucks hang on, coming back. Watch John Barry with the steal and then the reverse layup effort as Charlotte's lead is cut to 28-17. Here's EJ again. Pulls up for three, and 1 of 4 he would hit on the night. Then watch Vin Baker follow this thing up with a little bit of authority. Boom. LeRon Ellis, well, he showed Baker up once, though, just before the half. Zippo. And right now, as you see, the Bucks, who have lost 5 of their last 6 at home, are leading in the fourth quarter, but barely hanging on, 90-88 over a tough team. The Kings and the Jazz playing in Salt Lake City tonight. Utah running away and hiding from Sacramento. The Cavs, pretty bad road team, actually, this season, beating up on the Clippers, 21-10 Clippers. First home game since the earthquake, but they have to play at the Forum tonight while the sports arena remains closed for repairs. And the Lakers are in Portland taking on the Blazers, 22-17 there. Clyde Drexler apparently eligible to come back into action tonight with that bad ankle of his. Anyway, this is the time of the show when we shout and twist it, lightly crisp it, bro insist it, and for those who have dissed it, we then list it, just in case you missed it. Know what I'm saying, boy?
Big trip for the Magic. Styles turns on the afterburners. Turner's follow is good.
Yeah, you ain't the only one, Scotty. Dikembe Mutombo was looking for something after Benoit Benjamin gave him the business. Ro Blackman of the Knicks, a tad testy after he shoots the right at Richard Wood. And Chuck Person using his head to get good position underneath. And now this almost commercial announcement for a fast food near product. Okay, Brian, let the old man get by you. Make the dunk. Off the ref, left foot, into the stands, nothing but press box. Hey, these guys are good. Couple of passing fancies here. How about point giant Manute Bol? Yeah, I'll check the box, but I don't think he gets an assist on that one. What about you? No-look pass, no-look catch. Big George Muirson. Pretty good view of the floor from up there, I'd say. And can you believe it? Both parents are 5'9". And the Charlotte Hornets. Watch closely. You're never going to see an easier transition basket in this league. The big shots. Dana Barros, runner at the horn.
It is good if it goes. Oh, my goodness.
Nick Van Exel. He's all shook up. Scottie Pippen with some string music. Man, it's cold, man. Isaiah, nothing easy about that. Ryder. And Karl Malone from 40 feet. Okay, kiddies, time now to put on our jammies. Blue Edwards, hacked in the act. Sean Kemp, this one speaks for itself.
Up ahead, lead pass to Kemp. He will go to get it with a right. Back it in the left and bring it down with 2 hands. Get up for the downstroke. Oh, what an acrobatic phenomenon.
But having a heck of a time this week. Norman, is that you? Norman, is that you again? But don't feel bad. You could have been Patrick Ewing.
Lead is down to 7. Ewing got the step and was rejected by Ryder. What a play by Ryder.
So it goes. Just another stilted edition of Just in Case You Missed It. Hey, what do you guys think?
It got kind of corny at the end, I have to admit.
No, I thought the movie was great at the end. I like the way he figured out.
You're crazy.
Yeah, right, guys. Tell you what, talk to me when you win a home game, all right? And with that bit of madness, we head off to the promotional department this coming Tuesday. More Knicks at night on TNT. New York at home for a banged-up Phoenix Suns team. A week from tonight, we have got Weber's Warriors and the Jazz out in Salt Lake City. As for now, I am pretty much completely done. But I'll see you next Friday night on our next trip inside. Until then, may God bless you and may all your jumpers hit nothing but the bottom of the net. So long.